ചെയ്തു നമിപ്പോ തവ ശുഭഭക്തിയോടിന്നും ഇരുൾ വഴി താണ്ടുന്ന സഭയെ തേജസ്വരൂപമായി തെളിയോ അഴലിന്റെ വഴികളിൽ ദേവാ കരുണതൻ കടലായി പൊഴിയോ കരുണതൻ കടലായി പൊഴിയോ കരുണതൻ കടലായി പൊഴിയോ.
Thank you. May I now request Dr. Srikala MS, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, and the convener of the webinar for the welcome address.
Dr. Srikala, please unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. A very warm good morning to one and all present here today. We, the Postgraduate Research Department of Chemistry, Sri Shankara College, Kaladi, are extremely glad to organize. Just a moment. Automatically move to the one. Okay, am I audible now? Yes. A very warm good morning to one and all present here today. We, the Postgraduate Research Department of Chemistry, are extremely glad to organize this webinar, this national webinar on behalf of the management and IQAC Sri Shankara College, Kaladi. Firstly, I express my sincere gratitude to the management and IQAC and also the principals Sri Shankara College, Kaladi for their constant encouragement and financial support given to conduct this seminar. Dr. Preeti Nair, IQAC Coordinator, Sri Shankara College, Kaladi, is here with us today. We extend our hearty welcome to you, ma'am. This webinar is focused on the frontiers, introducing the frontier areas of chemical sciences and career opportunities for chemistry students. We have 6 expert talks from eminent personalities who excelled in the field of chemistry. The inaugural address and keynote talk will be given by Professor Fatehveer Singh of Vellore Institute of Technology. And Professor Fatehveer Singh is here with us today. I extend my hearty and warm welcome to you, sir, to this webinar. Today's afternoon session will be handled by Dr. A.B. TG of SH College, Tevara, who will address on the practical approach to computational chemistry. And other talks on 18th and 19th include opportunities in chemistry by Professor P.V. Anilkumar, Mahatma Gandhi University, Professor Sandana Lakshmi, ex-Marie Curie Fellow on material fabrication from marine-based polysaccharides for environmental applications, Professor A. Sujit, National Institute of Technology, Calicut, on spring seasons of chemistry, and Dr. Srijit Sivarama Panikkar, former postdoc fellow, National University of Singapore, on soft, organic and nano-hybrid materials for cancer bioimaging. I extend my hearty and warm welcome to all the resource persons. The success of the webinar is mainly lies on the active participation of the delegates and their interaction. I extend a warm welcome to all the delegates, including the faculty members, research scholars, PG students, UG students from Sri Shankara College and also from other institutes joined in this webinar. I extend my hearty welcome to all the faculty members of the chemistry department, the senior research scholars, whose immense support has made this webinar possible. I gratefully remember all the technical support given by Dr. Girish M.K. of Chemistry Department, Dr. Jessica K. of the same department for organizing this webinar. Thank you all once again. Have a great day today. And over to Dr. Jessica.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now invite Dr. Preeti Nair, Associate Professor, Department of English and Coordinator of IQAC, Sri Shankara College, to deliver the felicitation speech.
Thank you, Dr. Jessica. Respected dignitaries, dear colleagues, participants, and my dear students, a warm good morning to all of you. It gives me immense pleasure to note that the Postgraduate and Research Department of Chemistry has come up with yet another academic event, a 3-day national level webinar on frontiers in chemical sciences and career orientation. I'm all the more happy since this webinar is intended not just to showcase the current trends in the field of chemistry, but also aims at orienting the students to career opportunities, which means that the department has a clear definition of the outcome it intends to derive out of this 2-day deliberations. As I congratulate the Department of Chemistry for organizing such a webinar, I would also like to welcome all the resource persons and thank them for accepting our invite to be a part of this academic event. I also thank the management and principal for the support extended. I once again congratulate the convener and the entire department for organizing this webinar, and I wish the webinar all success. Happy deliberations. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, Preeti ma'am. We are indeed privileged. Thank you, Preeti ma'am. We are indeed privileged to have with us today Dr. Fatehveer Singh from School of Advanced Sciences, VIT Chennai, as our chief guest. Dr. Fatehveer Singh has completed his MSc in Chemistry from SSV College, Harpur, Uttar Pradesh, India in 1998. He has received his PhD in 2007 with Dr. Atul Goyal, JNU, New Delhi. After the completion of his doctoral studies, he started his first postdoctoral studies with Professor H.S. Stefani at USP, Brazil, and worked with him for more than 2 years in the area of organotrifluoroborate chemistry. In 2010, he joined as Marie Curie postdoctoral fellow with Professor Thomas Worth at Cardiff University, UK, and worked 2 years in the area of organoselenium and hypervalent iodine chemistry. He received Dr. D.S. Kothari Fellowship in 2013 and worked with Professor G. Mukesh at IISc Bangalore, India for a short stay. In 2014, he started his independent career and joined VIT University Chennai as assistant professor. Mainly, his research group is interested in the findings of new organoselenium and hypervalent catalysts for organic synthesis. Moreover, his research group is also involved in the development of new organic fluorescent molecules for OLEDs and chemical sensors. Currently, he is having different research grants from Government of India. He has already published more than 60 research papers, several book chapters, and review articles. Now, may I invite Dr. Fatehveer Singh for the formal inauguration of the webinar, Frontiers in Chemical Sciences and Career Orientation, and also to deliver the keynote address.
So, good morning to all of you. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, good morning to all of you. And usually, I'm giving the presentations related to my research, but today is first time as you have given an opportunity to just inaugurate the session of your conference. So it is a 3-day national conference, and it is a nice opportunity for me to just give a inauguration address at this moment. And first of all, I would like to congratulate Chemistry Department of Kaladi College uh, for organizing this nice academic event, as well as I would like to congratulate to convener, ma'am, uh, Sri Kala ma'am, Dr. Sri Kala MS, for his for her, nice management and organizing. She has organized one conference in 2018. I was one invited speaker as well in this conference. So today I would like to speak a little bit about the opportunities for students in research, or how they could excel their careers in research. But before that, I would like to briefly introduce a little bit about the introduction of research. So actually, research, is an important architect. We could say nowadays for the development of any country. So it could help to facilitate that I could say basically that economy of the country. So research is most important. You know how important research is, what type of things we could get only just because of the research. For example, everybody is now struggling nowadays just because of that COVID-19 problem. So everybody is looking towards the researchers of their countries just to sort it out, that problem, to provide one vaccine, or some countries they have already, few countries they have already developed some vaccines. So this is actually just possible because of the research facilities or research efforts of our scientists, our scientists here in India, right? So likewise in other countries as well. So one of the important thing in how research is going to provide to the institutions. So basically the one actually ma'am was discussing regarding the IQR ranking. So this ranking only just given based on the research efforts from the institutions. So that ranking is only just coming just because of the research output they are getting from the institutions in the form of patents, in the form of research papers, and all the time it is not the number of papers or number of patents, but also how important that research of your institution is. So there are few parameters, by which that the output of the research can be easily, evaluated. For example, one of them is H index. So this is quite important. How much H index is of your institution, and along with that the citation. So both things are interlinked in the research. So if you are going to have a good citation, that is indicating that your research is valuable for others. So it should not be like you are doing some research and publishing some papers, but it is not, there is no use for others. So if others are not going to use your research, then that means you are not going to get more number of citations. So somehow these two things, citations and H index, are important, and they are going to support to get higher rankings in IQR rankings. And also, that if you want to continue the research, so I think PhD students, so research students, I could say it may be PhD student, they may be maybe postdoctoral students, or maybe master students also. So they are the integral part for the development of research of any of any institution. So basically, in India, if you would say, so I would now briefly speak about or highlight about the career opportunities in research. So basically, there are a few fellowships in India and for PhD, but most important thing, but two bodies, CSIR and UGC, they are conducting NET exams to just keep the fellowship for as a JRF, and nowadays they are giving around 31,000 Indian rupees along with HRA according the city where you are working. So basically, if you are going to get somewhere around 35,000 rupees per month, along with you could so you know why they are giving now more fellowships. So basically, so students could facilitate more on research. So if your economic value would, if your economic situation would not be good, then you might have some problems to develop your research skills. So they are providing more fellowships now. So mainly, you know, either you can go via CSIR or you can go via UGC, right? So these actually fellowship 35,000 would be for first 2 years, but remaining 3 years that fellowship actually it is going to convert in you know SRF, and that amount is going to increase up to 35,000 per month plus HRA. Other than this, there are some other opportunities to join as you know for research. So there are few projects actually we are having in Indian universities, including deemed universities and research institutes. So we are having different projects actually we are getting, right? So you can join in those projects, and you can work for maybe 2 years or three, and then you can try to get SRF, direct SRF in CSIR, or maybe in DST also. So you can just apply for you know for SRF after 2 years experience. Then maybe you could come into this streamline, and you can try to get your PhD with good quality papers, right? And then after that, when you are going to get your PhD, then how you could excel your research career after that. So there would be various ways by which you could try to facilitate your research expertise. So one of them is either some of the PhD students, they can complete the PhD, and they can move towards the you know industries. So we have R&D center in most of the industries nowadays in our country. So if you are going to join, you could facilitate your research there. So there are a lot of pharmaceutical industries in our country, right? So almost in every part of the country, we will have you know different basically different types of pharmaceutical industries we are having different dyes and pigment industries. We are having several industries based on the materials. We are having several industries where they are making fertilizers. We are having different industries where they are going to have agrochemical, you know, they are designing, they are making a lot of pesticides, insecticides, they are making. And other than this, there are several polymer industries nowadays available. So basically, if you are coming from chemistry background, and if you have received your PhD in chemistry, then you would have a lot of opportunities to work in different industries, especially, you know, if you are coming from organic chemistry background. So you can try to find a place to develop your research skills in different you know industries. Other than this, you know, the other possibilities, you after getting the PhD, you can try to apply for postdoctoral fellowships in abroad. So there are two ways to get the possibilities in for postdoc in abroad. So one is they are having their projects from their governments, right? And then you can simply apply for postdoc. So they can select you in that particular project, and you can use their facilities for the development of your research career as well. You could as well as good output of the project you could be if you can work hard in that. And this is you know not only important for your research skills, but also you could enhance your financial you know situation as well. So nowadays they are providing around $3,000 is common fellowship for postdoc in US, around 2,500 dollars it is in UK. So this kind of money you could get along with your development of your research career. The other way is you can, if you have good strong CV, if you have received good quality papers in your PhD, then you can try directly some fellowships. So for example, some fellowships in India as well. So after the PhD, either you can apply one fellowship called Dr. DS Kothari Fellowship. You can apply, and then other than this, we have CSIR and PDF program by which you can find some post in US. And other than that, there are several high prestigious fellowships, postdoctoral fellowships in the world. One of them is if you will go to Brazil, actually, so they have two fellowships. One is called as CNPq and other is called as FOPEST. So you can, if you want, you can apply there. You will, if you will get that fellowship, then you could get opportunity to work any professor in Brazil. And then after that, there are a few more, prestigious fellowships. So two or three top class fellowships. One of them is Marie Curie Fellowship. As one of the speakers would be there, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, who is from Marie Curie Fellowship background. So if you are going.
Sorry, sir, you have been muted. Can you kindly check?
Now is okay, sir?
Yeah, now it's audible.
I don't know how it happened.
Yeah,
Okay,
some technical issues.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry for inconvenience. So I was discussing that you can apply for Marie Curie Fellowship. So this is one of the best fellowship in the world. So if you are going to apply, you can work. You can have an opportunity to work in Europe. So two type of fellowships are there. One for the citizens who are in Europe and who are the citizens other than Europe. So two fellowships, like you have studied in organic chemistry, intermolecular intermoleculars and in inter and intramolecular things. So same thing here. So inter and intra, two possibilities. And there is one more prestigious fellowship is called Humboldt von Humboldt Fellowship. You have to apply in Germany. You have to find a host in Germany and then you have to apply. So if you are going to get this, then you will get an opportunity to work in Germany. Then two more very prestigious fellowships, one from UK, it is Newton Fellowship. So if you are going to apply for Newton Fellowship, you would have an opportunity to work in UK. And other than that, if if you want, you can apply for JSPS Fellowship. So this is also, most of the times these fellowships, JSPS from Japan. So basically those guys, they are evaluating your CV or your host institution expertise and expertise of your proposed mentor. So they are evaluating all those things independently, and after that they are going to give the fellowships and try to provide you the opportunities to work in their country. Then after that you could get benefit with that host institution could get the benefit, and also your mentor could get the benefit as well. So that would be basically, as a result, all three would get the benefit. So if you are going to get that postdoc, after the completion you can find some positions here in India in universities, Indian universities, including that deemed universities, IITs, NITs. We have now ICERs, different ICERs, different NIPERs we are having, and we are having several CSIR labs, more than 40 labs, CSIR labs in India. So they are solely working. So in the CSIR labs, mainly you have to focus only on your research. You should not worry much about the teaching. But in universities and IITs, NITs, ICER, NIPER, so you have to to teach along with your research activities. Other than those institutions, we are having a one great, the best institution in our country is in Bangalore, IISc Bangalore. So it is another opportunity if you will have very good CV, good number of publications from your PhD and good postdoc exposure. If you have, then you could try to find a position somewhere in this kind of premier institutes in our country. Then there are few more other research opportunities as well to where you could grow your career. So one is a faculty recharge scheme. It is from university side, from UGC, and other is Inspire Faculty Program. It is from DST. So you are going to get a good salary. Along with you would get few lakhs with for your starting your research career. Then after that, so I think the both programs are for 5 years. So these are another way by which you could be in touch with the research as well as academics. And after that, there are a lot of opportunities. So once you could get a position in any university or any CSIR labs, and you could write some projects, some project proposals. You could write in DST or maybe in DRDO, maybe in CSIR, maybe in DBT, right, etc. So there are several research funding agencies in India. So I would like to say you should try to work hard. You should, as a student. So my message is especially for postgraduate students who are especially in final stage of their masters. So they could try to find a good place for research. Try to find a good supervisor where you could enhance your research skills. Try to find some postdoctoral positions to advance your research studies and just make your CV more strong. Join some institutes in India or in universities. Train the students and try to develop more researcher and more academicians to our country. So with that information, I would like to conclude my talk, and thank you very much for providing an opportunity to give a highlight over the opportunities of opportunities in research for PhD, especially the PG students. Thank you for all. Once again, I would like to congratulate you for organizing this kind of nice event. Thank you for all once again. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for explaining to us different research opportunities about different research proposals. Thank you so much, sir. But, sir, may I now invite you for the technical presentation?
Yes. So if are able to see the slide?
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Oh,
Can you try to make it a full screen mode? See how?
yeah.
Yeah, all right, sir, perfect.
Okay. So today in my talk, I would like to discuss actually the ring transformation reactions, especially that would be more interesting for master students. So usually I'm working, in three different areas. So one where I'm working in hypervalent iodine chemistry. So in that we are making we are synthesizing different kind of oxidants, and we are using in different oxidation reactions. Not only in oxidation reactions, but cyclization reactions as well. And also the other work where we are trying to find a new organoselenium catalyst and used in different organic transformations. But one of the area actually we are saying that ring transformation reactions. So basically we are having one six-membered lactone is also called as alpha pyranols. So basically, we are going to treat these molecules with carbon nucleophiles and nitrogen nucleophiles. So basically, we are going to get different kind of molecules. Mainly, we are getting aromatic molecules, but there's different cyclic and acyclic systems are basically synthesizing as a dividend of that ring transformation reaction. So today I will speak about the ring transformation reaction. So that work actually I started when I just started in my PhD. So this work I'm continuing even nowadays as well. So this is quite easy. It's not very difficult chemistry, but interesting. So we are having some interesting molecules, not only for synthetically value, but their medicinal value as well. And for some molecules, they have showed very good fluorescence, and we are doing further studies to find their applications in material chemistry. So these molecules, basically the alpha paranols, basically this is the structure of alpha paranol. Here we are having a carbonyl group at C2 position. And this kind of actually molecules are naturally available. Several naturally acting compounds where this scaffold is there, not only in plants but animals as well. And there are a lot of compounds are precursors of different kind of drug molecules. For example, anti-inflammatory, antifungal, antiviral, anti-cancer, HIV protease inhibitor activity, some plant growth regulators. So different type of activities are reported, but mainly our focus actually in this chemistry is, so these are some naturally occurring alpha paranols. So some are having complex structure like that in third one, but some are having still been kind of things, and some are hydroxy, so they are having hydroxy groups. So several natural products, they are having that hydroxy group at C4 position. And in few cases there are the substance at C6 position, and in some cases there are substance at C5 position. But today what I will talk, so basically as I told you in the beginning that I'm going to explain basically how that ring is going to transform into the other molecules. So basically I would discuss that the synthetic potential of these molecules. So if you would see the structure here, so there are two structures here, but of the same compound. So if it is one, you could see here. So at second position, as I told you, it is carbonyl. Then so this is six-membered lactone. So three positions, C2, C4, and C6. They are electrophilic in nature. So if you are going to treat these molecules, they will react these molecules with nucleophiles. So either they will react at C2 position or C4 position or C6 position. So This type of molecules can be easily synthesized. So we are synthesizing easily in one step. So first we need to, you could say, two steps. In first step we have to synthesize that ketene, this one, this alkene, you could say 12. So we have to basically synthesize this. So it can be synthesized easily either with by using that diethyl malonate or ethyl cyanoacetate. So if you are going to start with ethyl cyanoacetate, you will have a cyano group here. If you are going to start with dimethyl malonate, then diethyl malonate or dimethyl malonate. So in case of diethyl malonate, you will have a ethyl acetate group here and ethyl acetate group here. Then if you are going to treat those molecules with ketones, especially acetophenols, so we are going to get this 6-membered lactone. So basically it is easy, the reaction occurs in DMSO in the presence of base. So in the presence of that KOH base, basically the proton will abstract from at this position and it will attack air at this position, right? And one SMA will come out. Then this intermediate 14 would form, which can further, basically the proton from the position where R2 is attached, so that one, proton can further abstract here, and this negative charge would participate for the cyclization by involving that carbonyl moiety and carbonyl moiety of the ester here. Okay, so the carbonyl of ketone and carbonyl of ester. There would be a formation of the intermediate 16. Finally, that intermediate 16 will lose the methanol and there would be a formation of compound number 70. Further, so we can use actually this substrate 17 in ring transformation reactions. But if you are an organic chemist, so you know what SME group can do. So it is very good leaving group. So there would be a possibility that nucleophile, when you will treat it with either carbon nucleophile or nitrogen nucleophile, so there would be a possibility that nucleophile may attack at the C4 position and the SME could knock out. Okay, so just to avoid these kind of side reactions, basically we have treated those molecules with secondary amine to form that compound with having amino group at C4 position. And amino group doesn't act as a leaving group. If you see and if you are going to compare with that SME, so it is not going to leave it easily. So these are the good substrates for the ring transformation reactions. So mainly, two type of nucleophiles you can try, either carbon nucleophiles or nitrogen nucleophiles. And here, so why you can either start with SME, but I told you already that if you are going to have SME group, then there would be a possibility of several side reactions. But it would be good if you will start the ring transformation reaction with the amino group here at C4 position, okay, and that X can be used as a CN or COMe. So I told you when you are going to make the starting material that 12, as you can see this one. So if you are going to start with ethyl cyanoacetate, then CN ethyl cyanoacetate or methyl cyanoacetate, then CN will come here, X will be CN. If you are going to start with diethyl malonate or dimethyl malonate, then you could have either COMe or COE. So these carbon nucleophiles can be used, maybe malonitrile, maybe different ketones, different aldehydes. In case of nitrogen nucleophiles, we have used urea and we have used ethanol. So if you are going to use the carbon nucleophiles, so different types of products, number of products we have I think, synthesized more than 200 products we have synthesized by using carbon nucleophile. So malonitrile is one of the best carbon nucleophile you can see here. So if you are going to treat it with that malonitrile, so usually, it is going to convert it into anilines having CN group either side of the NH2. So what will happen when you are going to have this kind of reaction? So basically, as all of you know, that in the presence of base, that the one proton would abstract from here, and that it can attack at this position. So usually in case of malonitrile, we never observe the reaction at C4 position. So reaction we have always got it at C6 position. So it will attack at C6 position here with the formation of that bicyclic intermediate. Sorry, formation of this intermediate 21, and then there would be a possibility of cyclization here. Okay, so if it is going to cyclize, so basically this negative charge will attack here, and then CN would participate in the cyclization, and there would be a formation of bicyclic intermediate 22, and finally that bicyclic intermediate will aromatize and lose the carbon dioxide, and there would be a formation of different anilines having cyano group either side of the molecule, and this cyano group can be further hydrolyzed and maybe could be used as amino acid. We could say that it is a kind of amino acid. Same thing, if you are going to use that isopropyl group, if you are going to have here, then you can make the same reaction. So with malonitrile. So further, the same reaction was used for the synthesis of functionally congested biaryls. So if you are going to start, starting material where C6 position we have a alkyl group here, but at C5 position we have a aryl group. We have the aryl group, okay, and there would be a formation of biaryls. Then the same malonitrile can be used for the synthesis of 1,2 biaryl benzenes, or you could say orthoterphenyls, right? So this reaction was treated, and the reaction products were obtained in excellent yields, and the reaction product was confirmed by its X-ray analysis. So you could see here it is the central benzene ring. Here we have these two rings, actually this one and this one. We have a CN group here. Okay, we have a SME group, SME. So this side it is CN, this side CN, and we have here NH2. Okay, so basically these compounds are, you could say that amino code are orthoteryls. Then the same approach was used for the synthesis of ortho and meta-thymine code biaryls. So you know how expensive that orthothymine and metathymine. Parathymine is quite cheap, but orthothymine and metathymine is quite expensive. So if you want, you can just treat the same lactone could be used, could be treated with the aliphatic ketone, and then basically it will abstract the proton from the CH2 position here, and there would be a formation of this ortho. Basically, there would be a formation of orthothymine. Here you could see. Okay, here the reaction mechanism would be slightly different compared to that last reaction when it was done with malonitrile. So here you could see, a proton will abstract from this position. It will attack at C6 position. position, then there would be a formation of intermediate 27, and further that intermediate 27 can be converted into bicyclic intermediate 28 by cyclization involving this carbonyl position to attack to the carbon of this carbonyl group, and after that it is going to lose the carbon dioxide, and that would be a formation of intermediate 29, and on hydrolysis followed by the dehydration, aromatization, there would be formation of product 31 orthocyanine. Then some hindered thymines could be synthesized. So if you are going to start with the naphthyl group at this position at C6 position, okay. So if you are going to start and with the same ketone, then you could get the orthocyanine based on the naphthyl group. Okay, so you can have either naphthyl 1 or naphthyl 2 at this position. And then if you want, you can have isopropyl group in 130 position if you are going to treat this kind of lactone with ketone. Then, if you are going to treat these molecules with, I could say that it is phenylacetone, so different phenylacetone, then there would be there was a formation of 1, 2, 3 diaryl benzenes, or we could say the quaterphenyls. But the important thing in that reaction, if you are going to see this substrate here, and where that R3 is equal to OMe, and R2, R4 is equal to H, and R5 is equal to OMe. So if you would see these two molecules here, so there would be two possibilities, either both methyl group and OMe group. So when you have two aryl group and their ortho positions are blocked, the rotation via this single bond, they are going to restrict. Okay. So in that case, there would be a two possibility of the arrangement of the molecules. Okay, so one, both methyl group and OMe group may be in the same side or maybe in the different side. Okay, so if it is same side, then it is called as M. If it is opposite side, then it is called as P. So P and M is nothing, the names are given plus and minus. Okay. These are actually this type of compounds where we can have the isomers just because of the restriction of the rotation around the single bond. And this type of isomers are called as atrop isomers. And this isomerism is called as atrop isomerism. Then, when we started with slightly more bulky ketone, so we started with that deoxyanisone type of deoxybenzoin and anisone type of molecules. Then can I hold 1 minute?
Yes, sure, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Not now, ma'am. We have not cleaned. We will clean it today. So if it is today, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. I have copy, ma'am. Could you give a time? Yes, ma'am. We will make it ready, ma'am, today. Yeah. Tomorrow. Yes. Yes. Yeah, ma'am. You can visit, ma'am. Actually, I am in charge of research lab, so timetable and all is not required for our lab. So mainly notice board and yes. Yeah. I have. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, 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 okay. Friday, ma'am, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, okay, ma'am, okay, okay, bye, bye. Hello, sorry for interruption. Actually, we have a NAC visit in our institute, so some things are pending. Sorry for interruptions. Okay, so interestingly, when we started the ring transformation reaction with the COMe group here, then it was completely different. So that this part SME group and COMe was involved in the cyclization. And this time we could not find any product, with the attack at this position at C6 position. Okay. So this time we are saying, actually we are saying the name of these molecules. We are saying pyran molecules. Okay. So that molecule was characterized with the with its X-ray. So usual ring transformation product was not forming here, and that product what you have seen as a 31. So basically this product, it was confirmed by its X-ray analysis. Then after that, if you would see, again the same product was same reaction was tried. So simply nothing, that CME group was replaced with the CN. Okay, so this time we got the two products. One was a ring transform product, and other is decyanation product. Basically, the cyano group was removed. Okay, so if you would see here, so one product, it is 40. It is usually we are saying the ring transform product, but here, it was not ring transform. It was just attack at C4 position. So if attack will be at C4 position, the product would be that 39. If it is attack at C6 position, then product would be 40. Okay. So after that, if you could see the mechanism, so the synthesis of 40 is very usual, right? So nothing special in that. But in case of the formation of 39, if you could see, so basically first when this CH minus will attack at C4 position, SME will come out, and there would be a formation of intermediate 49. And after that, there would be a cyclization by involving carbon in moiety, right, of the ketone and CN. So basically, there would be a formation of intermediate 42. Usually, when we have like a double bond NH, so it is hydrolyzed very easily. That imine is going to hydrolyze, and there would be a formation of this intermediate 43. And after that, it can just convert it into amide, and it can lose ammonia and carbon dioxide, and there would be a formation of this decyanation product. Then after that we decided to check the course of reaction. So this is general mechanism, right? In this slide, nothing special. Okay, so both products were confirmed by their X-ray analysis. So as you can see here, we have 4 rings, benzene ring 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have the central benzene ring. Here we have the SME group and we have the CN. Then here, this side, we are going to have that, basically decyanation product. So there are 4 rings, benzene ring, this one, and here, this one and this one. Okay. So basically, these are the both compounds were characterized by their X-ray analysis, single crystal X-ray analysis. Then after that, we just try to restrict the attack of this molecule at C6 only by replacing that SME group with the diamino group here at C4 position. and that there was a formation of this product exclusively, that's ring transformation. So basically we synthesize 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically tetraphenyl benzene. Then after that, 1 minute. Okay. So same approach was used for the synthesis of biaryl and teraryl called diaryl methanes. So basically diaryl methanes are, special functional basically architectures they have used in this kind of architecture in different drugs. One is called as Baclobrate drug. Actually, it is an anti-cancer drug, and some other molecules like citragine and levocitragine. So some anti-allergic molecules, they are having that scaffold diaryl methane. So one aryl group is here, other is here. So one is functionalized. So basically, this kind of molecules were synthesized, right, with the reaction of either 1,3-diphenyl ketone acetone, or if this you could say methyl benzyl, or you could say that benzyl acetone, right? This is 1,3-diphenyl acetone and this is benzyl acetone. After that, several compounds were synthesized. You could see here, and yields were compounds were isolated in good to high yields. All so many compounds overall. I think around 12 compounds were made, and that just when it was treated with the 1,3-diphenyl acetone, similar scaffold, basically diaryl methane formed, and this time again 12, so around 24 compounds, 24 diaryl methanes were synthesized, right, by using the same approach. Then after that, phenylacetaldehyde, propionaldehyde, sorry, was used for the same reaction. So just aldehyde was treated with the aldehydes were treated with those starting materials, and there was synthesis of that. You could see diaryl methanes once again. You could see. So around 13, 14 molecules were synthesized. Then after that, we thought, well, why not we should try to see the synthetic application of these diaryl methanes. So we try to oxidize this double bond by using hypervalent. Initially, we try to do the reaction with hypervalent and some other oxidants we tried, but we could not get success. And finally, we find a very easy condition. So if you are going to treat those molecules with base, so different kind of bases can be used. So if you are going to use that potassium tetroxide, and simply you need to stir in the presence of oxygen. So it was oxidized, it was basically hydroxylated. So we got that hydroxylation product. So we got the alcohol, and reaction products were got in excellent yields. Although in few reaction we observed that traces of ketone products was found in traces, but only in traces it was there. Then after that, we did some controlled experiments to see whether reaction is going to happen by using that oxygen from air, or if it is coming somehow from DMSO. So we did some experiments. So in first controlled experiments we did with the two equivalent of base in DMSO under nitrogen. So the reaction was not working at all. So this is the indication that if you have inert atmosphere, there is no oxygen, reaction was not working. And then it was tried in a vacuum, right? So again, there was no reaction. Then after that, we try with the with that tempo. Basically, tempo was is a quencher. Basically, whatever the free radicals will form, it is going to pinch, right? It is going to suck basically that free radicals. So after that, the reaction was proceeding, but the reaction yield was very poor. So that was the indication that reaction was working via free radical mechanism, and also that atmospheric oxygen was used, actually was involving for this reaction. Then after that, if you would see the mechanism, so basically in the presence of base, then this carbon anion will form, and then it is going to simply use that oxygen species here, and then there would be a formation of free radical 60. It can react with oxygen and to form the peroxy radical, and then peroxy radical can just convert it into that peroxide anion, and then after that it is going to just convert that dimethyl sulfoxide into dimethyl sulfone, and with the formation of this intermediate alkoxy intermediate 63, and that alkoxy intermediate 63 gave that product 56 on hydrolysis. Then, so after that, further we try to see the course of the further synthetic application of this molecule, this time that hydroxy compound. So it was treated with triflic acid. Then there would be a possibility of cyclization. So basically that OH group so water molecule was removed with the help of the ortho position of this phenyl ring and with OH. Okay, so that fluorine molecules were synthesized in good yields, in excellent yields. And the other possibility is if you are going to just react with 4% of this alcohol HCl solution, if you are going to take, then there would be alkylation of this alcohol group. So that is the formation of OMe here, or OET, or that OMe here. Okay, so basically all these three reactions indicating that this group, OH group, is present here because it is going to simply hydroxylate. Okay, then after that, what you need to do that if you are going to treat those molecules with IBX, then there would be a oxidation of this hydroxy group into ketonic group, right? And then so these ketones were synthesized in good yields. So IBX is a hypervalent iodine reagent. Its oxidation is 5 oxidation state. So if you are going to treat those alcohols and going to heat around 80 degrees centigrade, then you will get these molecules. So this work is now submitted in organic and biomolecular chemistry. Then after that, we synthesize different allyl benzenes by using the same strategy. So we started with this compound. So just this starting material. Here we have the double bond, and this part is going to involve in the ring transformation reaction. And there would be there was a formation of this starting material. Basically, sorry, this allyl benzene 68, and reaction products were obtained in good yields only. So after the synthesizing of these compounds, we decided to see the utility of this double bond, and you know how important those double bonded compounds are, because they can easily react with different nucleophiles. So not only with hypervalent iodine reagents or organosulfide reagents, but with different halogens or with different electrophiles they can react. But as I am, my group is involved in involved in hypervalent iodine chemistry, so we decided to explore further the synthetic utility of these double bonded compounds. So after that, we decided to just try to cyclize, just to activate that CH group and somehow cyclize with this double bond, okay, and to get the synthesis of 9,10 dihydrophenanthine derivative. So we use different reaction conditions, and finally we got it that if you are going to use any acid, maybe either HCl or H2SO4, if you are going to use, so both are working well with this kind of cyclization. So we are not using any kind of hypervalent, sorry, any metal we are not using. So basically, this is a metal-free CH activation of aryl moiety. So if you are going to just use this condition, so these compounds, all those cyclic products were obtained in good to excellent. So the product, so this product formation of this product 69 was confirmed by its X-ray analysis. Now then, the question how that mechanism would be. So basically, what happened initially, that this proton basically, that will come from acid. It is going to activate this double bond, and then there would be attack from pi electrons of this ring. Okay, and there would be a formation of this intermediate 71, and finally with the elimination of water, basically there would be a formation of this cyclic compound, basically phenanthine type of compound. Then other lactones, other ketones we have used. So we have used propiophenols for the similar reaction. Then it could end up with the synthesis of that propiophenols. Okay, so different kind of propiophenols we could get with the help of this reaction. Sorry, we could get 1,3 diaryl benzenes, or you could say the metacapsules. Then after that, these were the molecules were synthesized. So several compounds were synthesized. So I think around 6, 8, and 11, 15. Sorry, around 13 compounds were synthesized. After that, we decided to synthesize that orthoterpenoids. So instead of that propiophenol, that phenyl was used as a substrate. So that phenyl acetaldehyde was used, and orthoterpenoids could synthesize. And here we are not having any group at this position. Okay, this is unsubstituted. So if you need that unsubstitution at this position, then you have to try with the benzaldehyde. So different products were formed. You could see here. So different products we have formed, and we have studied those compounds. We have studied the fluorescent properties of these compounds, but I'm not explaining here. Furthermore, the same approach was used for the synthesis of dihydrophenolines, isoquinolines and quinolines. So it was so basically tetrahydroisoquinolines. So if you are going to start with this, piperidone, if you are going to start with piperidone, and that it should be protected with BOG. If you are going to treat it with this lactone, then there would be a formation of this, tetrahydroisoquinolines. And this can be easily cleaved, that BOG group can be easily deprotected in the presence of TFA, and there would be a formation of this, products, tetrahydroisoquinolines with free, NH group. So these are the examples. I think so many examples, around 10 10 and 10, 20. So around 20 molecules were synthesized and 5 molecules were synthesized with free NH group. Then after that, further the same approach was used for the synthesis of tetrahydroquinolines, not isoquinolines. That it is actually wrong. So it is tetrahydroquinolines. Okay. So instead of this position, the amino group at this position, it was here. Okay, at meta position. Okay. So we synthesized, actually we got the tetrahydroquinolines in very good yields. So again, if you would see that all Bock product was deprotected, right? So it can be it can be deprotected as well, and you can have that tetrahydroquinolines with free NH2 group. Then after that, we decided to treat some to treat the ketones with some cyclic ketones without having nitrogen. So just it was treated with that cyclohexanone protected with that group here. So we got some spirocyclic compounds here, 81 with good fluorescence properties. So we have synthesized, I think, different molecules. It is 10 or maybe 10, 11 molecules we have synthesized, and further that group was cleaved under the acidic conditions, and we could get the synthesis of easy synthesis or metal-free synthesis of 2-tetralone. And these 2-tetralone molecules are very important. Even we have find some chemical sensors, right? We have find some molecules, they are sensing copper, but it is under process, so we are not I'm not highlighting here, but that paper would publish soon. So we have very good chemical sensors based on these molecules. So these are the examples of those 2-tetralones. Then after that, we decided to use some of the basically nitrogen nucleophiles, so instead of carbon nucleophiles. So very cheap and best that compound was used is urea. So urea was used, and we got 2 products, 2-aminopridine and pyridone. So if you would see the mechanism, so you have to just do the neat reaction. You are going to mix both lactone and urea, and you have to just fuse them at 150 degrees centigrade. Then it is going to melt. There would be a formation of this intermediate. So basically ammonia would form, and that will attack at this position. So intermediate 84 would form, and then intermediate 84 can convert it into 85 just on decarboxylation. And after that reaction can move in by 2 different ways. One, it can either that lone pair of nitrogen can attack the CN group. If this will attack, then there would be a formation of this intermediate on decarboxylation, and then there would be a formation of that 2-aminopridine. So basically the cyclization would occur. So first decarboxylation will occur, then lone pair of nitrogen will attack at the carbon of the cyano group, and the formation of this C that C double bond NH would form, and then further it will aromatize, and there will be a formation of 2-aminopridine 87. If it is not decarboxylate, and then the lone pair of nitrogen can attack at the carbonyl of acid, and then there would be a formation of this pyridone. Here the question was 2 questions. One question was there, from where that reaction, how the reaction is working. If it is working, if nitrogen is going to, if lone pair of nitrogen itself of urea is acting as nucleophile, or ammonia is forming and then it is acting. So the same reaction was treated with thiourea, and we got the same combination of the products. So we were expecting, so when we thought that either it is going to, reaction is going to occur either by direct attack of the nitrogen of urea or ammonia. So it was clear here. So if it was attack of that lone pair of nitrogen of urea, then we could have that thio group here instead of keto group. We should have the thio keto group here, but we could not get thio keto group. We could get the same group, basically the ketonic group here. Okay, and it was confirmed with the help of X-ray structure. Okay, so with the X-ray we could know clearly that whether it is oxygen or sulfur. So it was oxygen, not sulfur. So that was clear indication that the reaction was working via formation of ammonia, not with the formation of not by the direct attack of the lone pair of nitrogen of urea. Then after that it was heated, in pyridine. So instead of that neat reaction, so we got 2-aminopyridine this time exclusively, but the yield was slightly less in that case, and the reaction was working for longer period. But again, we could get the rid of the other product, but yield was quite less, and starting material was there for even the reaction was doing for 3 days. Then after that, the same reaction was treated with the lactone here with COMe, okay, instead of CN. Then this kind of actually pyridone product was formed, and we could not get any product with COH or COMe. After that, we decided to see the course of reaction with ethanolic amine. So when ethanolic amine was refluxed with this lactone, we could get two products actually. One is 98 and 99. So in one product, the amino, that nitrogen, lone pair of nitrogen was attacking at C6 position. That was the minor product. And the other product 99, where the lone pair of nitrogen was going to attack at C4. Okay, so basically there was the formation of just 99. So if it is going to attack by attack at C6 position, it was 98, usual ring transformation reaction product. If it is attack at C4 position, then it was 99, right? And after that, we decided to restrict the formation of that product, which is going to attack by attack at C4 position. So we started the reaction with that ketone, which is which is protected one. So we have that instead of that SME group at C6 position, C4 position, it was used that amino group. And again, we could not get the expected product, but unexpected product, 2-aminopyridine, it was observed. Okay, so if you would see that the mechanism, so initially it will attack at this position, that lone pair of nitrogen, and formation of this intermediate 101, and then there would be a formation of cyclization with the help of lone pair of nitrogen to the carbon of cyano group, with the formation of this bicyclic intermediate 102, and then after that it loses carbon dioxide and formation of intermediate 103. Further, there was a formation of this cyclization, basically by involving that the carbon here with the double bond and this hydroxyl group, and then it was converted into intermediate 104, and it loses that ethoxide cyclic, basically ether group will come out, and there will be a formation of this that 2-aminopyridine. So basically I would like to say that this our approach is a good approach, metal-free approach, and we can use we have developed different carbon-carbon formation reactions by using different carbon nucleophiles, and we have developed a few carbon nitrogen formation bond formation reactions by using nitrogen nucleophile. But we have some limitations of our approach, as you could see here that the presence of electron withdrawing group at C3 position is mandatory. If you are not using that either cyano group or cyano group at C3 position, then this reaction is actually not working. Then second, we should have actually either SEV group and tertiary amino group is also mandatory at C4 position. And unfortunately, the reaction is not working if you are going to use an esters, either not working or reaction products are forming in very poor yield. And finally, I could like to conclude in that my talk that we have synthesized different molecules having electron withdrawing groups and electron donating groups, because I could say that push-pull groups, push-pull electronic groups we are having, and the aromatic molecules where they are having that push-pull group, they learn to show different kind of fluorescence. So we have some of our studies are still in progress. So just we are trying just to develop some fluorescent probes, or some probes for as a chemical sensors we are going to develop. So this is my talk, and I would like to acknowledge to my PhD supervisor, Dr. Atul Goyal. So he is working in similar chemistry, and Professor Thomas work. So I have not presented today the work of hypervalent iodine, but I have a more influence on my research from my both supervisors, Dr. Goyal and Professor Ward. And these are my students. So the two students. So Priyanka Kole, Dr. Priyanka Kole, she has completed her PhD in January. So she was involved in few papers in this work. Sais Mangaonkar, so his viva was scheduled, I think 15th of March, but it could not complete as his examiner was not well, so because of some health issues we could not conduct. We will conduct soon, and these are the current group members. So Samata, she has done a lot of work. She has published few papers, and she has synthesized several new molecules. Subhashini and Kanimudi say they are working in the same chemistry, and Ms. Manjula, I think you are well aware about Ms. Manjula. So she is working with me since 2018 October. So she is now progressing well, and she has synthesized some molecules, right? Where we have they are showing good fluorescence properties, and we could have good output from some of our molecules. So with that information, I would like to thank once again for inviting me to give an opportunity to present my research work, and thank you very much for chemistry department and the convener of the conference. So thank you, and thank you for all of you for your patience to listen me. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fatehveer Singh, for the information shared. Now the session is open for discussion.
Any question?
Delegates, please. Is there any doubt or students also can ask questions regarding your higher studies or regarding the presentation? You can unmute yourself and ask questions.
So either students have not understanding anything or they have understand everything. Later stage also, if they want, they can call me, they can.
Yeah. You can contact directly also. Okay, if there is no questions, so we can wind up the session. Yeah, over to Dr. Jasita.
If no questions, let me continue. Thank you, Dr. Fatehveer Singh, for the informative and wonderful presentation on ring transformation, reactions, and different mechanisms involved. Thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you for introducing this particular research field to the participants. Let me thank Preeti Ma'am, Coordinator IQAC, for the support extended. We sincerely thank management and IQAC for the constant encouragement and financial support extended to us. We're also thankful to all the students, delegates, and faculty members for the active participation in the program. That brings us to the close of the session.
Just I'm in class. Can you
Kindly
call
fill
in
up the
5
feedback
minutes?
form provided
Or you
in the
can
chat
just
box.
number, I will call. What?
Next session will begin at 2 p.m. The session will be on practical applications of computational chemistry by Dr. Ebi TG from Department of Chemistry, SH College, Tevara. All the participants are requested to log in back at 1:45 p.m. For the technical session. Once again, thank you all.